Okay, it's now Gentle George time, the time of the show where Gentle George gives us his expert advice on people who've got problems. The theme of the show this week, obviously, it was Swindon a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, people who got in contact with us who lived in Swindon, obviously very, very serious. This week, it's people who play badminton. If anyone plays badminton and wants to talk about it and talk about what they're going through, please get in contact with the studio at summervalleyfm.co.uk. Okay, we've got our first email. It's from Tim in Lancashire. He says that he can't catch Gentle George, and it's really beginning to get him down.
Okay, well, Tim, I'm here. I'm listening to your problem. I feel for you. There's many things I could suggest for camp being able to catch. I would go, I'd take some lessons, maybe try some baseball, which is American sport, or cricket. Try and work on it. If not, I think, if in doubt, have a sex change.
How big a problem is this, George?
This is something I do hear quite a lot. Yeah, no, not being able to catch is a serious problem which afflicts at least 3 billion people a year.
Because I think a lot of people underestimate how wide a problem it is, and obviously a lot of people don't want to talk about it because, if you can't catch, well, it must be very depressing waking up every day and just dropping things and not being able to catch things, and that must be very difficult to get over.
I had a client whose name I won't disclose for legal reasons. She was so bad at catching, someone chucked her nan's urn, which had her ashes in, and suddenly dropped it on the floor.
Very sad.
Yeah, it's now in the Hoover.
Very sad. Okay, so Tim, I hope that helps. Obviously, we can only do so much, Tim. Gentle George can only do so much. Ultimately, it's down to you to keep practicing catching, and if it doesn't work out, then maybe employ a catcher for you. Okay, we're going to move on to our next emailer. This is Ian from Surrey, and he says he's 12 years old, but he can't grow a beard. Common problem, George. Could you dissect that for us?
Yeah, no. I can understand the pressure he's under. When I was 12, I had a great desire to have a Salvador Dali moustache. So I can feel the pain you're going through right now. But just give it time. Just give it time, and eventually, you'll go through the changes, and it will become too much. You'll have too much hair everywhere, in places that we won't mention on the radio.
Yeah, no, obviously, George. Yeah, but, obviously.
Yeah, just give it time, and
it must be difficult for you though. Tom, Ian, even, because I remember when I was 12, and I had a beard already, and I had no problems at school or anything. And I can imagine, well, if you're one of the only people without a beard at school, it can be difficult. You're obviously a target for bullying.
Having a.
Because George, I see you obviously have the ability to have a beard, but
I do. I choose not to.
You choose not to, but you've got that option.
But if I wanted to, I could. Straight away. 2 minutes it would take me to grow a beard. I've never had problems with growing a beard.
Yeah.
And I feel for Ian here, but give it time and spend at least 3 minutes a day just pushing, as if you were having a movement, but a movement from your face.
Yeah.
And try that, see how that works.
Okay, brilliant. It's great to have Gentle George in the studio talking to us about these things, because I think a lot of people in the area find it difficult to find an outlet for their problems, especially problems which are quite unique, things on Summer Valley FM that we have become quite specialised in the Newsworthy slot from 12 till 1. Obviously, we just had a trailer there for Off the Record, where you can go with certain problems, but like for our next emailer, someone who can't stop stalking people, I wouldn't want to go to Off the Record with that. I'd like to go to Newsworthy with Sam Foster and Gentle George. Gentle George, he's a stalker, he's from Doncaster. Maybe that's part of the problem.
Doncaster has got a high stalking rate. Most people in Doncaster stalk each other instead of actually forming real life relationships, which some people can see as healthy.
Yeah.
If there's mutual balance of stalker and stalkee stalking each other, it's essentially a relationship.
Do you think, in some ways, Gentle George, that society has got stalking wrong? Is it really that much of a negative thing? Because obviously, imitation is the greatest form of flattery, and in the same way, maybe stalking could be seen as the greatest compliment. Because I think it'd be a great story if stalkers then became lovers?
Well, classic love story is one of mine actually, Sam. There's a girl I've been seeing for about 3 years now. I'm very happy with her. No, we've been going together for about that long. It's going really great, but I've not told her she's my girlfriend, and she doesn't have a clue. But I personally, very happy with the situation. So does she need to know? Does she need to know that I think she's my girlfriend?
Okay, brilliant. Right, Gentle George, we're going to take a halt. We're going to play a song, and then we're going to get back, because I know there's going to be some people who want to talk to us about the fact that they've been playing badminton, and, well, everyone knows the problems with that. Okay. Okay, sorry there about David Stokes. We have actually now got a caller who wants to talk to us about badminton. Are you there, Simon?
Yes, there I am.
Simon, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. You're clear as a bell.
So, Simon, I understand that you play badminton and you wanted to get in contact with the studio to talk about it, because obviously Gentle George and I have been talking a lot about this. Gentle George, what can you say to Simon? Sorry, say that again, George.
So, how long have you been playing badminton for, Simon?
Well, I suppose I really started, in caravanning holidays, like a lot of people did, as a young nipper, a wee nipper and that. But it really only got serious a couple of years ago. Yeah. And that's when it really started to take over my life. Before that, it was only recreational, but obviously it became more, and it was taking over my life about 4 or 5 years ago, let's say.
Okay, and so I suppose, it's just something that's built up and just taken over your life completely.
Well, I thought I could, kick it whenever I wanted, but I tried, and I just wanted more.
Simon, I don't want to butt in, but I always find with people who play badminton a lot, it's a lot to do with their social environment. It's a lot to do with the people they meet, because if I wanted to play badminton, I couldn't just go out there and play it. I wouldn't know who to play it with. You know what I mean? You need to be in that social environment where you're going to get offered to play badminton, and I think that's what the most worrying thing is. Do you think you're surrounded by people who are maybe bad for you and will prevent you from kicking the habit of playing badminton?
Well, I think you're absolutely correct there, because it starts off, you have a couple of friends, and someone brings out some rackets at a party and says, well, let's play badminton.
Yeah.
So you go along with it, and you meet more people, and you lose the old friends, and you keep the badminton friends. And I think it is hard to kick the badminton when there's shuttlecocks everywhere. Yeah,
George will just say something.
If I may, the problem with badminton is it starts off as something very light, very fun, very friendly, but I find it's a gateway sport. And you start playing a few rounds of badminton, playing a couple of sets, and then next thing you know, you're on to tennis. Then you move on to the squash, and that's when it really gets out of hand. So,
definitely.
Simon, while you can, please just, you have to try your hardest to get off of it before it leads to anything ridiculous.
Simon, I just want to say it's brilliant you got in contact with the show. I know it's difficult. Like I said earlier, we'd played a trailer for Off the Record. I know that they've got a lot of good people down there, some who used to play badminton, and I'm sure they'll be able to help you out. So what I'll do is I'll get your number after we've had this conversation, and I'll email it to you. I'll give you a phone call. Because Simon, this is not the end of this. No. George and I are going to help you stop playing badminton, and so you can get on to doing other things, and just living a life again. So Simon, thanks for getting in contact with the studio.
Thank you. It's good to have a nice network of connections to pull me out of my badminton craze.
Just keep away from the courts, okay, mate? All right, thank you, Simon.
Thank you.
Cheers. Unbelievable, isn't it, George?
It's terrible. You've just got to learn to put the racket down. It's terrible affliction.
Yeah. So that obviously, if anyone wants to get in contact with us now, obviously we've had Simon talking about, he's played badminton for quite a few years, and we're trying to get him off it. So if you could get in contact with the studio, if you've got any insights, or you used to play badminton, or you still do, you're more than welcome to get in contact with the studio at studio@summervalleyfm.co.uk. We're going to play Changes now, very appropriate, by a man who knows all about playing badminton.